Welcome to church, everybody. Welcome to church. Welcome to church. We've got people online. We've got people in Ipswich. And we've got you here. And some of my brothers and sisters from around the world have been saying that it's been a very unusual time in church life as churches come back together into the same building. They're saying that it's probably between 30% and 50% of people who have not actually started to come back yet. That's compounded a little bit because it's still August and it's still holiday season for a lot of people. I know right now that there's quite a number of people that have informed me that they won't be here this morning because they're on holidays. We know that our online service is actually probably as large, if not larger, than what we have here in the room. And I want to encourage you. I really want to encourage you as people begin to come back into the life of church. People have got various reasons for, a little bit of hesitancy of gathering back together in crowds. And I want to alleviate some of the stress that people are feeling at this particular time. As the robust rollout of vaccines around our nation have continued, we're seeing more and more and more percentages of our nation actually vaccinated against this horrible COVID-19 thing. And we're seeing more and more people feel that confidence to come back out again. Those of you that are watching online, I want to encourage you. Online is really comfortable, really nice. I think somebody was telling me that they really enjoyed the online because it was their opportunity to make pancakes and cappuccinos and sit in their pajamas and watch television. And, but it wasn't until they came back on site that they began to realize how powerful this gathering is. And I know that some of you may be looking around and thinking to yourself, well, where is everybody? Some of my pastor friends, and I've been reading blogs from around the world, and these are some of the comments that they've been making. They've saying that people have left their church. People have left their church and not going back to church. People are just not confident to come back into the gathering yet. And so for various reasons, there are people who are still in the process of making that decision. Last Sunday, though, we had a special guest here with us. Amy's dad was with us, and he took the time to write me a quick note to let him know what he thought of the service. And so I thought I would let you have a little listen in as well. Private conversation between me and Simon Orton. Dear Tom, I have visited your church a couple of times in recent weeks when visiting my daughter, Amy. I was very encouraged by the preaching of Sam a few weeks ago and Andy last week, and wanted to encourage you because you have obviously had a significant input into both of these young men. There's a very different landscape post-COVID-19. I don't think I can emphasize that enough for you. Okay, things are not just going to go back to normal. Things are not just going to go back to normal. Please listen to me. Be patient. Be prayerful. Take the opportunity over the next few weeks to be inviting people back into the life of church, inviting friends, inviting neighbors. Keep looking out the window and seeing people that you know and be inviting them. Let's not forget that. And it goes on. It's been a very different landscape post-COVID-19, but from what I observe, you have a very healthy tree trunk that will blossom and produce good fruit. I don't know what you've heard from other people. I don't know why people have left our church. All I know is that they're mostly not as honest as they could be as to why. And I want to encourage you that what we have here is very healthy, very good. I mean, this man has come in, has seen it from the outside. I am also very thankful for the ways that you've provided support and loving friendship for my daughter in the painful season after her mother's untimely death. And then he concludes by saying, may the Lord continue to bless and encourage you, your wife, in the months ahead. Blessings, Simon Orton. So what a lovely letter, hey? I want to encourage you that you may hear things. And, let's be honest, who doesn't like gossip? Hey. Over the last couple of months, we've seen a lot of gossip online. All you need to do is put a few people's names in and then press news, and it comes up. I know Denise and I are really praying for Pastor Brian and Bobby at this particular time, a very tough time for them. Other things and other people we've been praying for, as we've heard on the grapevine, things that have been taking place. But come on, I want you to be honest with me. Gossip. It's something about gossip that just makes us want to listen. You know what I mean? Hearing stuff about somebody else's life can be interesting. You know what I mean? Come on. Don't be self-righteous and prune-like and say, I've never listened to gossip. When you hear stuff that's not meant for public consumption, it makes you feel a little bit like an insider. You know what I mean? We got personal letters from Pastor Brian and Bobby over the last couple of weeks, and from key members of their staff to request us to pray for them during this particularly difficult time. We felt like insiders. Hearing information that could be potentially damaging to a person makes you feel like you're sort of like in the know. You know what I mean? Hearing hurtful information that supports your opinion about somebody makes you feel justified in hating them. You know what I mean? All I need to do is mention one person's name and there will immediately be a divide. Piers Morgan. You either love that man or hate that man. There is no in between. It's a bit like Vegemite. There you go. Have you ever noticed that when people gossip, they whisper? I just feel like I really need to let you know this. When people are gossiping, they do it in a sort of clandestine manner. That's sort of like, hang on, I'll put the microphone on the right side. It's sort of like, these things, that not everybody knows this yet. Don't tell this to anyone, but I've been sworn to confidence, but I'm going to break that confidence and I'm going to tell you. That's what gossip is. No one ever seems to say it out loud that they like gossip. And I wonder why. We love to gossip until the gossip is about us. Hey. Gossip may appear harmless until they start gossiping about you. Gossip is fun until the gossip about you is untrue, ripped from context, or is a plain out lie. My whole ministry life I've been subject to this kind of gossip and innuendo, accusation and criticism. Anybody that is a leader who allows themselves to be elevated in any kind of leadership role will face this. I don't ever want to be a politician. They get it far worse than we as pastors. But, many people have gone home after a great sermon and had pasta for dinner. Many people have repeated the lie, repeated the untruth, repeated comments that have been ripped out of context, and make it sound so believable. Proverbs 18 and verse 8 says, "The words of gossip are like choice morsels. They go down to the innermost part." And I looked at that word, choice morsels. I'm a bit of a foodie. I know what choice morsels are. In Hebrew, the language which it was written in, it means something to gulp down greedily. And isn't it amazing the way we love to listen to gossip? We gulp it down greedily. Why do we regard the words of a gossiper as sweet treats? These sweet morsels of information, true or not, go down into the innermost part and they feed a carnal desire for information about someone else's life. Why are you so interested in someone else's life? Gossip provides the listener with a kind of gratification. We like it, but we like it for obscene reasons. Information you most probably would never discover or have any need to know. You begin to feel smug and arrogant and a little bit self-righteous. I knew they were like that. Oh, did you hear? Huh? You begin to feel a little bit guilty of gossip. And we've all been guilty of it, haven't we, hey? And let's be honest, hey? Please work with me. We've all been guilty of gossip. But we curtail our activities when we realize how damaging it has become. Gossip will define you as someone who can't keep a confidence. In my job, it's really, really important for me to be able to keep confidence. I remember one pastor using this kind of terminology. In my head, I have the secrets of 1,000 people, and that's true. There are things that I've been told in confidence that I will never tell anyone else for the entirety of my life. I will never repeat it. Gossip defines you as a person who delights to prolong conflict and give breath to damaging information about other people. It matters not whether the information is true or not. The gossiper will gossip. The passing on of gossip is a perversity, a travesty, and a cause and causes so much damage to others. And eventually it begins to damage us as well. It's a karmic principle, if you don't mind me using it. What you sow is what you reap. If you're a gossip, don't be surprised that people will begin gossiping about you. Gossip is never okay. If someone comes to you with gossip, politely ask them to stop. Speak directly to them and say this is inappropriate. Be bold, be courageous. Change the topic of conversation and make sure the gossip stops with you. Never pass it on. Proverbs 26:20 says, without wood, a fire goes out. Without a gossip, a quarrel dies down. Amazing, isn't it? If you can be the person that stops the gossip, how good is that? If someone comes to you and accuses someone that you know of something that you think to yourself, this is totally inappropriate, this is wrong, even if you're not sure, even if you don't know. One of my friends was in a group of people and they were criticizing one of our other friends. They said, oh, you know, Pastor so-and-so, he's an alcoholic. He's got a problem with drink. My friend stood up and says, no, he doesn't. How dare you talk like that about my friend? And it just immediately put a stop to the conversation. My friend, with his phone, went back outside, phoned this pastor and said, you don't have a problem with drink, do you? I want that kind of person to be my friend too. I want you to be the person that stops the gossip. I find it interesting that it just appears that maybe in Matthew 16, Jesus was asking for a bit of gossip as well. Matthew 16, verses 13 to 20. I'll read through the passage with you and I'll make comment as I go. When Jesus came to the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, who do people say the Son of Man is? It's an interesting question. I don't like asking those kinds of questions. What do people say about me? It sounds like he's inviting gossip. But the response was interesting. They replied, oh, some say you're John the Baptist, others say Elijah, still others Jeremiah or one of the prophets. Well, I'd be feeling quite good to be in that kind of company right now. You know, some say you're Brian Houston, some say you're, and they continue to go along, and I'm just going, I feel pretty good about that. The disciples were being very good to Jesus too, because that wasn't the only thing that people were saying about Jesus. They critiqued him as spending time with riffraff and crooks. They accused him of being a drunkard and a friend of sinners, friend of prostitutes. They accused him of breaking Sabbath law, of being friendly with publicans and drunks. And of course they were accusing him of being a blasphemer because he would forgive people their sins. The disciples were being kind to Jesus and seemed to leave out these bits as well. I think they had a good heart. I think they really loved Jesus. And I think they really wanted to withhold some of the information I'm sure Jesus already knew anyway. But then you begin to realize why Jesus asked that question. As we go through this new series on talking with Jesus, the first question was a setup for the second question. I don't know if you've ever experienced this in your walk with God. Sometimes he'll ask you a question and you think, that's interesting. You begin to respond, and then the Lord brings a second question to you, which actually, it impacts your life incredibly. And this is what happened with this situation. Who do men say that I am? And then he turned the question around and he says, and what about you? Who do you say that I am? Now, a powerful question for the disciples. It's a powerful and truly relevant question for us today as well. And we need to be reminded, who is Jesus? What about you? Who do you say that I am? Pivotal question as we come out of the pandemic and return to life as normal as it possibly could be. Jesus wasn't really after gossip. He wanted to know, who do you say that I am? It wasn't a request for gossip. It was to push his disciples towards truth, towards revelation, towards understanding. This kind of truth and revelation and understanding would dynamically impact their lives as well. Some people that we talk to in today's world say, oh, Jesus, he was a great teacher, a prophet. He was a good man. And this question is a good question for us in today's world. Who do you say he is? Who is Jesus to you? Your answer will determine the course of your life. No joke. It has determined my course for nearly 50 years now as to who Jesus is to me. I'm sure if I had a different understanding or a revelation or understanding of a different truth about Jesus, I probably wouldn't be here today. But when I understood who Christ was and the claim that he had upon my life, the calling upon which he impacted me with, I became aware of the fact that Christ had called me, and this changed everything for me. Beware of who others say he is, but spend the time to discover for yourself who he is. Search the scriptures, search your heart, be open to the power of the divine for revelation. Verse 16 is a powerful passage to discover for all of us. Simon Peter answered that question. I can imagine they're all sort of sitting around and Jesus says, and who do you say that I am? And Simon Peter, full of bluster and, boastfulness and, the confidence that we all think of Peter, dear old Peter just speaks to change feet, He's sort of like that sort of a guy. He stands up and he says, thou art the Christ, thou art the Son of the living God. Peter was probably a little bit shocked himself by such a phenomenal declaration. A confession. You're the Christ. You're the Son of the living God. Wow. Peter answered according to revelation, not based on gossip or what others had said. He knew the truth of Jesus. This kind of truth impacted him, and it will impact us. Truth touches us, impacts our life. Truth, revelation truth. In a world of alternative facts, fake news, and misinformation, we must be earnest seekers after truth. Peter went on to become one of the most prolific apostles of Christ. His confession of Christ literally transformed him and created a future basis for the truth as he preached and proclaimed Christ until he was literally a martyr for the name and the cause of Jesus Christ. But where did this understanding come from? Jesus gives us the answer in verse 17. Jesus replied, blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonas. But this was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my Father in heaven. I still remember the night I gave my life to Christ. I was sitting in this big auditorium up in Brisbane, and the man said, if you want to give your life to Christ, I want you to put your hand up. I was too nervous to do that. If you want to give your life to Christ, I want you to stand where you are. I was still too nervous to do that, but there was something stirring in my heart. For those of you that want to give your life to Christ, come down to the front here. My two friends grabbed me, one on the left, one on the right, and dragged me down to the front. He says, for those of you that are standing here, I want you to join me in this quick prayer. And he led us in a prayer. It was a very easy prayer. Something that flesh and blood could not reveal to me. Revelation that came from my Father in heaven. I committed my life to Christ, and I have walked with Jesus solidly for the last nearly 50 years. Have there been dry moments? Yeah. Have there been tough seasons? Oh, yeah, absolutely. Have I ever questioned? Oh, hundreds, thousands of times. Have I ever wanted to quit? Yeah. Have I? No. And I'm not going to quit now. We're going through a season. For many of you, you're thinking to yourself, God, thankfully summer's nearly over. It's so blinking hot. 25 degrees. Heat wave. I can't wait till it's, 3 degrees, raining and cloudy and sort of horrible and yucky, and you're all thinking, oh, I just can't wait. I just want to wear my jumper again. I just can't wait to walk outside with an umbrella. Seasons change, ladies and gentlemen. Don't give up in the midst of a tough time. Don't give up in the midst of a difficult season. Rely on the revelation that you received the night you gave your life to Christ. And let that be the thing that guides you through your life. Who do you say that I am? Who is Jesus to you? Your answer will determine your future, your path forward, your destiny, your expectations. The answer to this question will determine your impact on the world around you. It will determine your lifestyle and inform your decisions day by day. Your choices and the outcomes of your life will be decided by who you have decided Jesus is. This kind of revelation brings you regularly to the crossroads of life. How will I respond? Well, is Jesus Lord or not? Is Jesus the Christ, the Son of the living God, or just a good man? Is Jesus King and I am his servant? Or is he just a great teacher and I'm just, toddling along while it's convenient? Is Jesus God or just a radical politician of his day? Is Jesus my Savior? Or will I do whatever I wish and just hope for eternity? Is Jesus the way, the truth, and the life? Is Jesus the Word of God, someone I've decided that I will obey? Is Jesus really the head over all things concerning the church? There have been times in my life when I've been completely unable to distinguish between Christ and his headship over the church. And that's a good thing to be in. I must be honest, I'm appalled at the way some people treat the church. We who believe Jesus is Son of God, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Alpha, Omega, these beliefs will determine our future. They will inform our decisions and create the world around us. We who believe Jesus will inform our thoughts about his church, inform our opinions about our spiritual leaders and our pastors. Believe me, seriously, Denise and I do not sit at home and scheme ways that we can trick you and cheat you. Mind you, we were on a beautiful holiday and I was seriously thinking about staying there for an extra 2 weeks, but I realized I would have to lie to somebody about why I was going to stay for an extra 2 weeks, and it was probably going to be Rose. And I decided that I regarded my integrity more than I regarded an extra 2 weeks of holidays. Are you hearing me? Denise and I do not sit at home and scheme up ways to... Our motivations are sincere. We love you. You are our life. We are committed to you. We will do everything we can to help you. But your understanding of who Christ is will impact how you see us. We who believe Jesus will determine our understanding of what the church is all about. Oh, I've been around so long now, I feel like the Ancient of Days, People say, the church, the church. And I've heard every comment that you could possibly imagine. And I think to myself, why would you say that? Why would you speak like that about the church? I'm not talking about differences of theology, differences of flavor. I'm talking about the fundamentals of how people will gossip about the church or criticize the church. You may notice that our church is a little bit different. We thank God for the dozens and dozens of churches in the city of Norwich and in Ipswich. We thank God for them. We're not here to break them down or to, speak bad about them or make comments about them, be critical of them. We thank God, we're all out there fishing for the same fish. Yeah, that's right. We're all out there, they're not my competition. Yeah, we are colleagues working together. You will never hear me slagging off another church. Yeah. You won't find me stealing people from other churches. Yeah. I grew up in the day when we called that sheep stealing. You'll never see us do things like that. Our direction, our focus is the people outside our window. The people that we see in Sainsbury's and Tesco's and wherever you do your shopping. These are the people that we've connected with and talked with and shared with. Jesus praised Peter in verse 17 to 18. And I like reading it from the Message. Jesus came back, "Bless you, Simon, son of Jonah. You didn't get that answer out of books or from teachers. My Father in heaven, God himself let you in on the secret of who I really am. And now I'm going to tell you who you really are." Do you like that? Yeah. When the revelation of who Christ is filters into the depths of your spirit, it goes into the innermost part of us, like gossip does. But the truth of Christ, the revelation of Christ, it deeply impacts us. It's only then we find out who we really are. He says, "You're Peter, a rock. The rock upon which I will put together my church, a church so expansive with energy that not even the gates of hell will be able to keep it out." Your revelation of Jesus determines who you are, not what other people say about you, not your self-talk, not what you say to yourself. Who you are is inextricably linked to and inseparably connected to Jesus and his church. If you feel your dreams are too big for the local church, your vision of the local church is too small. People can accomplish anything they desire in and through the life of the local church. To know who Jesus is gives you understanding of his church, a place of dreams, a place of visions, and of future endeavors. We discover this church is expansive and vast and extensive, generous, unrestrained. Nothing can stop it. The church is possessed by an energy so powerful, influential, potent, mighty, and vigorous. Not even the machinations of hell will be able to keep it out. As we enter a new season of church life, let's be people who refrain from gossip. Let's be determined to live out the truth about Jesus. Let's be people who shut down negative and destructive gossip, criticism, innuendo, lies. Be determined to speak the truth in love, in grace, and be willing to share our personal relationships with Christ to the people around us. Don't be shaken by what other people say, but be moved by God's word, moved by what you know to be the truth. Amy, please give my love to your dad and tell him how much I appreciated getting his letter. I'll answer him later this week, but when you're talking to him, let him know I just really appreciate it, because what he said was true. We've got a great church. We've got a wonderful church, a church that cares, a church that understands, a church that supports, a church that reaches out. We are directed by our primary vision to see our city saved and come to know the power of Jesus Christ in salvation. That's what our church lives for, breathes for. It's never changed. It's always been the same. I know over the last 18 months, 2 years, people have made COVID decisions. I'm glad that you're here today. And those of you that are watching by online, whether you're in Ipswich or literally online in your homes, I hope you'll come back soon and be part of this gathering. I was talking to somebody this morning and I said church was designed for us to get together. Church was designed for us to hug one another and encourage one another, to greet one another with a holy kiss. I'm game if you are. I'm just joking. But I believe in the local church. I believe in it. I love the local church, and I will champion the cause of the local church. Even if I disagree with certain aspects of other churches, maybe their doctrines, their liturgies, even their flavor, I will stand for the integrity of the church as a power for good in the world. I love the church and I believe in the church. I love proclaimers. And when I say that, it's not the name on the front of our building either. It's you. I love you. So does Denise. We're a great church with a powerful future in our city. Just so that you know, I've been on holidays. I'm fine now. And Phil, it's been 2 years since Denise and I had anything near a holiday like this. We're home. I'm not going anywhere. Got my beautiful daughter sitting here with her arms surrounding the most gorgeous little grandson in the whole world. And you think I'm going to leave this? Forget it. We're here because we love you. We're committed to you. Let's bring our hearts together for this new season. Let's see what God will do with us. I'm excited about what God has for our future, and I hope you will be too. I'll be back in just a moment.